Hello and welcome to my channel. If you're new here, my name is Marte, I come from Norway and I love makeup. And today I am going to finally, like after way too long, I'm going to swatch all of my liquid shadows from Glam shop. And I kind of tried to place them next to colors or shades that are a little bit similar so you can kind of just compare them a little bit. And I think I will just speed through the whole swatching part because it's gonna take so long time to just open all of them and swatch them on my arm. I'm going to try to swatch them like one here and one here and see if my arm is long enough. That's just how I was planning to do this. And most of these I received in PR. I think I ordered like I don't remember which collection, but I think I ordered like these two at least, and maybe the green, I'm not sure. But most of them were sent in PR a long time ago. But I don't think I'm on the PR list anymore, just to be completely transparent about that. So let's just get started and I'll put on some music while I swatch them, and then we will talk a little bit about the formula, how they wear, etc. Okay, so that was all the swatches. I am just going to be pointing with my spatula and tell you guys the shade names right here, and of course talk a little bit about how I feel like they swatched and if I've used them or not, how I feel like they perform. So the first one right here is Amplifier, and I'm going to go like this, so the neutral row first. This is Amplifier. I find that this one is the most patchy of all the swatches. I have also heard from a different creator on Instagram that this one isn't that opaque, which I find most of the others to be very opaque, even when I use them on the eye. But as I said, I haven't used it, so I'm not sure. But in any way, I do think that it will give you some kind of base for the shadow to kind of look a little bit more bright if you use it as a base. Next shadow right here, it's Milk and Coffee, and this is just like a beautiful taupe shade. It has a little bit of pink in it and it's relatively light, and I really like all of these neutrals, to be honest. Looks very opaque as well. Next one, it is Soft Slate. This one is slightly cooler toned, maybe a tad darker than the previous one, and looks really opaque and nice. Then it is this one. This is Ceramic, and this one is a lot warmer. It's a little bit more peachy pink, but still kind of cool toned, if that makes any sense. Also looks very opaque. I have not used it though. Then we have this one, which is a light pink. It is called Powder Pink, and yeah, it's kind of like a neutral pink, I would say, compared to like the other ones. And I do find it to look very opaque and nice. Then this one is a lot darker again. This one is called Dusty Pink. It is a lot warmer. It's almost on the peachy side, and yeah, just a little bit deeper. So that is Dusty Pink. Then we have Nude Pink. This is again more peachy but lighter than the previous one. It's kind of like the lighter version of this one. So Nude Pink is just a very peachy pink to me. This one is almost the same shade, just a little bit more brown. This one is called Saffian and looks very opaque like the previous ones. Then we have the next one right here, that is Tanned. Now I don't know why, but this one was maybe one of the drier ones of the bunch, which was like a few ones that were dry, probably because I have used it before and I have had it opened. So I do picture these to expire at the date that it says on the different tubes right here. So this one might actually be expired, or at least that it has dried down a bit, but it's a lovely shade. It's kind of like an orangey nude brown, and I just really enjoy this color. It's so pretty. Then the next one here is called Flint. It is a kind of pink toned brown. It's still quite cool toned. We have this one. It has a little bit more green and yellow maybe to it, and this one is called Salted Caramel, and I really enjoy this color. It's just a really almost grungy brown tone. And then we have this one. It's a lot warmer, still kind of the same depth, but it has a lot more red in it. This one is called Cuckoo, and it looks maybe a little bit drier than the others, but again, I don't think any of the dryness is due to the actual color. I think it's just due to me having used them before and them drying out slowly but surely, because I've had these for a long time now. And after Cuckoo, we have Chocolate Frosting and Chocolate Truffle. Those are kind of similar, but there is a difference in depth here. So Chocolate Frosting right here is a little bit lighter, whereas Chocolate Truffle is a little bit deeper. It's like a really deep brown. I think that would be perfect for smoky eyes. And then we have the black one. I find it to be very opaque. I have used it before. I've blended it on the eye and it was really easy to use. It went very opaque but still very blendable. And this one is called Black Smoke. And just before I go over to the more colorful ones, I'm going to show you guys these ones, which are from, I think you call it Mist on Celita. Mist on Celita. It was a collab with like bridal theme, and these look so beautiful. So there is a kind of nude pink, which is called Tulia, and it's relatively light and just a really beautiful nude shade. Then we have this gorgeous deep brown, which is called Prima. It just looks like a coffee brown. It's so beautiful. And then this one is a more plummy shade, but it's still very dark, and it's called Gaia. And I think all of these look very opaque. If anything, this purple one is maybe slightly less opaque, but still beautiful. Then we have here, it is Sunflower. It is just a light yellow shade. It does look a little bit odd, so I think it's something about these lighter tones that they're not as opaque, maybe because of the white pigment. But yeah, I can't really say much more about it because I haven't tried it on the eye. But that is Sunflower. And the next one is Shammy. It's more of a very light peach. Also looks a little bit dry like the yellow and the white, but it's a pretty color. Next up is Nectar, which is a very warm kind of pinky peachy tone. I feel like it's very hard to describe like the different shades because I feel like they're all like just pink peach, but it's just a beautiful pink with some orange in it. And this one was again called Nectar. Then the next one here is a little bit more orange than the previous one. This one is called Mellow Apricot, and it's a very pretty shade. I really enjoy these kind of warmer tones a lot. I mean, I also love these ones, but if I'm going for something neutral, I often reach for these warmer tones. So that was Mellow Apricot, and then the next one is called Lilac Pink. It is a gorgeous cool toned pink, almost bordering to purple, and it's just really, really pretty. It's definitely one I would have purchased myself if I hadn't gotten them in PR. So that is again Lilac Pink. Then we have something a little bit deeper and a little bit warmer. This one is called Dusty Rose, and it's just beautiful. These are very like romantic shades. So again, that is Dusty Rose. Then the next one here, it is Velvet. This one is one of the more purple ones, but it's still kind of warm toned and berry toned almost. Very opaque, gorgeous, gorgeous shade. And then this one, it's called Purple. Quite easy. It's a little bit sheerer. I think you might be able to see it, but it's still very opaque once you like, I don't know, it's not like I've built it up when I've used it, but once I kind of blend it into the eye, I do get this color to be quite opaque and not looking patchy at all. And it's just a gorgeous, gorgeous and bright shade. So that is Purple. And then the next one here is Forget Me Not. It's a gorgeous color again. It's a little bit like these lighter ones. It's a little bit dry, but not as much as the other ones, so I would still be safe with recommending this shade. It's beautiful. It's just a very beautiful and unique shade to me, and I just love these periwinkle shades like this. Then we have the next one, which is called Violet. It's a lot warmer toned than the more periwinkle Forget Me Not shade, but it's still very, very pretty, very opaque, not very dry. Just a pretty pink shade, pink purple. Then we have here, it is called Bubblegum, and it's a very fitting name. It's a very bright pink. It's a little bit more like the kind of drier ones, but still not as dry as the yellow and the white. So that is Bubblegum. Then we have this one. I think this is so cool. This one is called Beetroot, and it's so pretty. You can see that you have to build it up a little bit, and it blends out to be kind of like a berry pink. But as long as you get it to be full opacity, this one is a gorgeous red shade, and it's very intense and bright. I would, for example, use this as a liner maybe, because then it's easy to build it up and you don't have that pink kind of sheen to it, but it's a beautiful shade. So that is Beetroot. And then this one, it's like a hot red, almost orange, and it's called Strawberry. And this one was a very, very dry to me. I don't know why, but you can like even see it in here that it's all dried up. And none of the others were like this, and this one I hadn't even opened yet, so I don't know, it's probably just expired. But it's a beautiful color, so I'm sure that this one is not as dry once you have it fresh. And then we have some of my favorite shades. This one is called Oranges, and it's just such a bright, vibrant orange. It's almost neon orange to me, and it has a lot of yellow in it, which is just something I really, really enjoy when I have orange shades. So that is called Oranges. And then we have this one, which is a very interesting mustard shade. It's almost a green shade. It's called Honey Cake. And this is one of my favorites, and it's so smooth, it's so opaque, and just a gorgeous color. And then we have another one of my favorites here, which is called Camo. Now this one I've used several times, so you can see that it's very dry. So I might have to just repurchase this if I want to have it again, because this was just a little bit dry. I might try to revive it with some Inglot Duraline. But the color of this is so beautiful, and I remember I used this with Abracadabra, I think it was, and I loved that look. It's such a beautiful base to any color, and it blends beautifully. And yeah, that's Camo. So here you can see all of them. I'm trying to like show them all at the same time, which is not that easy in the angle that I'm in. But I hope that you can see them all. So I think you can see all of the different colors right now. So I'm just going to leave numbers on these, going from 1 and up, and then I'm going to start again at the yellow and continue counting, with the green being the last one. So I'm going to write all of the names down in my description box. So you can, if you just want, you can just pause right now, look at the number and look up the shade that you prefer. And yeah, I think that's just the most helpful way I can do it, unless I'm able to get the names up on the screen, but I think those will be very small. I'm not sure, but I hope that even if I do a picture or anything, that you're able to find the shadow that you're interested in just from these swatches right here. So before I end the video, I do also want to show you a little bit more close up, because you've seen them quite far away. So I just hope that you're able to like continue the counting if that's how you saw the shade that you like. So I'm just going to like go slowly towards the end of the swatch, just so that you can really get the time to look at the differences of the colors, because they aren't necessarily that different. So just that you find the one that is most right for you. So I think I'll just put on some music while I do this. Okay, so I hope that you were able to see the differences in the different colors. And again, before I end this video, I also wanted to mention a little bit about the formula, how to use these. And for me, I use these kind of more as a base, because I do have oily lids, and I'd find that unless I use the Glam Shop Glam Glue underneath the shimmer that I apply on top of this, I will get creasing, not like a huge amount, but kind of more like the shimmer will mix into this space. I do imagine that using these when you have slightly drier lids might be a nice experience, because they're not as drying as just using powder, for example. But for me, I like to use this more as a base, and when I have used these, I have ended up using powder on top just to mattify them and make sure that my eyeshadow won't crease during the day. But I do really enjoy all the looks I've done when I've used these, and I wouldn't necessarily say that these make for a more simple eye look, because I do have to kind of take an additional step to my routine, kind of, because I do use a silicone primer. I usually use my Smashbox one underneath, and then I apply this one, and then I apply the powder. So it kind of just ends up being a lot of steps, but I do imagine that you could also just use some translucent powder if you're worried about these creasing. But alone, I haven't really found that these crease like in the edge of the eye or something, like in the outer V. I haven't had any issues with this alone creasing. And another usage for these is to use them as liners. I think that's a very great use for these. Although I haven't really tried that myself, I just prefer to use them as a colored base. And when it comes to the dry down and the blending, I find that these give you exactly enough time to blend out your color on the eye. Now, I wouldn't take any breaks or anything or after I have applied this, because it does dry down relatively quick. But it's also not like the Urban Decay Free Base Primer I have that dries down incredibly fast, and you have to work so fast just in order to blend it out and get it down before it dries. These ones are not like that, at least not to me. I find that they dry down in exactly the perfect amount of time for you to do your work with them, and you can also just go in with a little bit more. I've done that when I used the black down here before, and it was no issue to just reapply when I wanted some more opacity. And what I do really like about these is the fact that they just blend so beautifully, because they are creamy eyeshadows or liquid eyeshadows, and as long as you still blend while they are newly applied, they just blend so beautifully because they kind of just mix into the base that I apply, and I just love how that looks. So that's just how I like to use them. I'm really curious if any of you guys have used any of these and what you think about them, because I really enjoy them, and I am actually considering to buy an extra one of this one now because it is so dry. So now that you've seen the swatches, I've talked a bit about the formula and how I like to use them. I think I'll just end off the video right now. So I hope that the swatches were helpful if you have been interested in picking some of these up. I think all of them are still available, at least I hope so. And right now, as I'm filming this, they have a sale that is going on at least until, I think it is until Friday maybe, May the 5th. Yeah, so it's 20% off right now, and I think that's a really nice time to try these if you're not sure, because at least you don't pay full price if you don't love them. But I'm sure that if you are into cream products, or if you just want to try them, you are going to either like them, or at least it's worth trying them out right now when it's a sale at least. So yeah, I hope that you liked the video. If you did, give it a thumbs up and subscribe to my channel if you haven't already and you like this kind of content, and hopefully I will see you in my next video. Bye!